Has this ever happened to you when you're working on a project and you want to bring a picture into your project? Let's just drag this over here, and the picture comes in real small like that. In this video, I'll show you why this happens and how to fix this problem. Now, if you like this video, make sure you click that like button and, of course, share. Don't forget to subscribe. And if you want to learn everything about Photoshop Elements, look at my complete training, and you'll find a link for that up there in the upper right-hand corner. Okay, let's get to it. To understand why this happens, where a large picture comes in as a small size, we need to understand image resolution and image size. Let me just get rid of these projects here so we can talk about what that all means. I have two files here on my screen. One is 2 inches by 2 inches. There it is, 012 at 75 ppi or pixels per inch. The other one is also 2 inches, 2 by 2, but at 300 pixels per inch. And the ruler up here is 0, 1, and 2. Now the reason why this is so much larger than this one is because on a screen I'm seeing the pixel dimensions. I'm not seeing this in the inch dimensions, just the pixel dimensions. This one is set at 100% right there, and this one is also set at 100%. You can see it right there. So both of these are set at 100%. If I change the rulers, just right click on the ruler here and change this to pixels, you'll see that this is 150 pixels wide, which is 75 pixels per inch times 2 inches. This one up here is 600 pixels wide, which is 300 pixels per inch times 2 inches. So my screen dimension here is much larger than my screen dimension here, even though the print size will be the same. Let's just put this back to inches again. Print size here, 2 inches. Print size here, 2 inches. What I get with the 300 is much finer detail. Over here I have 75 pixels per inch, so I'll have 75 pixels in that first inch right here across. Anything smaller than that 75 pixels is going to be lost detail. It's going to be softer in your edges. One over here I have 300 pixels, so it's much finer detail. You get better detail, more sharpness in your pictures with this 300 ppi. That's why I like working with 300 ppi as my standard size. Now if you're going for a print dimension, again you want to have the larger pixels per inch. The smaller size here, as you can see just by the image size, much smaller than this. It's a much smaller file size as well. So this is better to use for images used on the internet where the sharpness isn't as critical, but the image size is very critical for fast loading web pages. Let's make a new file here and take this. I'll go up here to the File menu, come down to New and Blank File, and I have it set for the default Photoshop Elements size, which is 6 wide by 4 tall. I have it set for a landscape, which is wider than taller. Add a resolution of 300, again, which is the right number to use for printing resolution. And we'll just click OK. And there it is coming in as a floating window. Real quick thing on floating windows like this. If you don't have this set up, go up to the Edit menu, come down to Preferences, go to General, and make sure these two checkboxes are selected. Allow floating documents in expert mode and enable floating document window docking. Make sure those are both checked and choose OK. You can then have floating windows, or you can dock the window just like that. There's our image docked in the background. Now, this image back here, our new file, just minimize that. The new file is the same resolution as this file, 300 pixels per inch. So if I take a guideline here, pull it into the 2-inch mark up there, there it is, about 2 inches, and pull one down here to about the 2-inch mark again right there. That should be the same size as this. Now the reason this is much smaller is because I'm looking at this image here at 33.3%. It's at 1/3 the size of this. So that's something else. When you're opening up an image inside of Photoshop Elements, you're not going to be seeing it full size. It's going to be coming in to fit the window. Right there, the default is just to fit the window. The zoom amount will change depending upon the size of the picture. So If you think it should be different size than this, just take a look at your zoom amount to see what that actually is, and check your dimensions up here on your rulers. Again, keep in mind, this is the print dimension up here on the rulers, not the screen size. If you want to see the screen size, what the actual screen size is, right-click on that, change that to pixels, and here we go. So this one happens to be 1800 pixels wide because it's 6 wide by 300 pixels. 6 times 300 is 1800. Okay, put that back to inches again. So let's now take this image. So let's say we have a new file we're working on. We have a picture over here. The picture is at the same pixel dimension as our image, so everything is fine. I'll take my image, just drag it in here like that. Let's minimize that. And as you can see, it fits just fine into that space. It's the size I expect it to be because the pixel dimension matches the pixel dimension of my project file. Let's see what happens now if I bring in this file here. It's the same 2 inches. So you would think if I bring this thing in, it's going to be the same 2 inches up here, except that on the screen we're looking at pixel dimensions and not the printed dimensions. So let's go ahead and bring this one in. I'll grab the background there, drag it in, and there you go. I'm sure you've seen this happen when you bring in a picture into your project and it comes in really, really small. That's what's happening, is that you're at a different pixel dimension on that image. This is, even though it's at 2 inches wide printed, the file here is at 300 pixels per inch. So it comes in much, much smaller. If I put this up here in the corner, it actually comes in just about a quarter of the size of that. And that's because, again, 75 goes into 300 4 times. So it's only 1/4 across and 1/4 up and down. So if you're working on a project and you're bringing a picture in and your image comes in real small, that's what has happened. Now, how do you fix that? What you need to do is you need to change the pixel dimensions of your image. I'm just going to delete this one layer here. Let's bring this back up again. And to change your pixel dimensions, go up to Image, come down to Resize, and Image Size. Right there. Now here's your document size. The width and height on inches, this is your printed size right there. Notice on the right-hand side, these are linked together. So if I change the width, the height's going to change. There's constrained proportions. But these are not linked to the resolutions. There's no link down here. So I can change my resolution. Now, look up here. Pixel dimensions at the top. Width 150, height 150. We saw that up there previously. That's our pixel dimensions, and that is the width or height times the resolution is our pixel dimension here. This is your screen size right in here based upon that resolution. Let's now change the resolution here to 300. There we go. Notice that my pixel dimension has now changed. It's now 300 times the 2 right there. So I've increased my pixel dimension. I haven't changed the print size. The print size is still 2 by 2 inches. But I've changed the resolution, the number of pixels per inch. Now, one thing about this, and you'll see this in just a second, so I choose OK, it resizes that image, but it comes in a little bit fuzzy. That's because it's having to make up a lot of those pixels. If I only had 75 pixels across and I now need to fit that into 300 pixels, that means that Photoshop Elements has to make up pixels. It does the best it can, but it tends to make things soft or fuzzy. That's why if you enlarge an image to bring into your project, it will tend to be a softer focus. Now you can improve that a bit by using sharpening tools, of course, in Photoshop Elements. It's not as good on graphics like this. It's much better on photographs. It's much harder to see on a photograph. So not as big of an issue with a photograph as it is with a graphic like this. But now that I've increased my pixel dimensions, it's now 300 ppi and not 75. If I pull this in now, it comes in as the size I would expect right there. So there you go. That's what's happening. If you are bringing an image in, you think it should fit, you think it's a 2 by 2 inch image, but it comes in real small, check your pixel dimensions. You probably have a file, a working file set at 300 pixels per inch, like that, and the image you're bringing in is at a lower size, probably 75 or 72 pixels per inch, which is a standard size for a lot of cameras shooting JPEG images or images off of the internet. Let's now look at a real-world example on this. I'm just going to hide these two things, and I'll bring in an image that I made on one of my previous videos. Go over to File. I have it in my new file list, and it's just this one right here. You've probably seen this one where I changed the background with this dog. Now, if you look at the dimensions in here, this is just a little bit larger than 6 inches. It's a bit over 6 inches, a little larger than 4 inches. So it's not 6 by 4, it's a little bit larger. If I dock this image, it shows full screen right there. So if I judge this picture by how it shows on the page here, it's exactly the same size as that. But it's not. If you look at the zoom up here, this is zoomed to 33.3%. This is zoomed at 30.7%. As I mentioned before, when you bring an image into Elements, it comes in sized to fit the window. This isn't the actual size. The picture is just being resized to fit the window. Let's now take this one. This is at 300 pixels per inch. It's a little larger than that. So if I take this and drag this image into my working file, close that down, you can see there it's, by looking at our control handles on the outside, it's too big for my picture. That's because it's a little larger than the picture size. They're now in the same area though, the same file, so I can really see that difference. Easy to fix if it's too large. You just grab your corners here and pull them in a little bit until it fits correctly, or until you like the look. Like that. That's pretty good. So it was real close. It was already almost the same size. So it was real easy, small adjustment on that. Let's just hide those guidelines. It's kind of distracting here. Get rid of that. There we go. Almost the same size. It fit pretty easily. And that's because this is at the same pixel dimensions, same pixel size, 300 pixels per inch, as our project file. Let me show you the other problem here, and this is what you've probably seen a lot. I've also saved that file out at 75 pixels per inch. Same image, just saved at 75 pixels per inch. Let me just bring that one up. That's right here. Looks like the same thing. If I dock it up here, it comes in, it's maybe a little bit smaller, but not much, not that much smaller. Doesn't look bad, right? Looks like we're pretty close. But if I take this and drag this image in here, it comes in like that. Real small. And again, the reason for that is that this picture here, this copy, is set at 75 pixels per inch. So when it comes in here, it's much smaller on the screen because my file here is at 300 pixels per inch and this image is at 75 pixels per inch. Notice also as I put this up here, it's showing my image at 100% right there. That's as big as it can go to be 100%. The other image went as large as it could to fill the screen. Now if it was bigger than the screen, it's reduced a bit in size to fill the screen. If it's smaller than the screen, it's shown at 100% of the size. So again, all these things can be very confusing. The main thing to remember here is that you're not seeing the actual size right in the window right here. You're just seeing what happens to fit in the window or in your view setting. It's the same thing as if I zoom in on this. You know, that's not the actual size of the picture. I just zoomed in a little bit. Let's go back here to fit screen. On fit screen, it's at 123%. So there you go. If this is what's happening to you, you're bringing in a 4x6 picture into a 4x6 project, and it's coming in like that. What's happening is that this picture is set at a much smaller pixel dimension, probably 72 or 75 pixels per inch, and you need to change the dimensions of your original image. Let me show you how that's done again. Let's just hide that one. We bring up that file. Actually, we're still here right there. Go up to Image, come down to Resize, go to Image Size, and then change your resolution down here to 300. Now, depending upon your picture, you have some options in here for resizing. You can do bicubic smoother, which is best for enlargements, bicubic sharper, better for reduction, bicubic best for smooth gradients, or nearest neighbor preserves hard edges, or bilinear. Now I'm enlarging this. I'm going from a smaller number here to a larger number. I'm enlarging the picture. So I'll use the bicubic smoother, best for enlargements. choose OK. There it is, it kind of much larger. Let's just set this back to fit screen. Now, as you can see here, it looks pretty good. This is the same image size change as we did back with our numbers, our little blue and black squares. But this looks pretty good again because it's a photograph. So you don't have as many problems with photographs. Let's now pull this one in. This is now set at 300 pixels per inch. If I pull this one in, it now comes in at the right size. So there you go. Let's just hide that there. So if this is what's happening to you, now we've gone through all the detail on this, the whole explanation for it, but if this is what's happening to you, go back to your original image and then resize the pixel dimensions of your original image to match the pixel dimensions of your working file. So there you go. More than you want to know about image size and pixel dimensions, and also how to make sure that your images come in right when you're working on a project. And the trick again there is to match the pixel dimensions on the images before you pull them into your project. Thank you for watching my video. I hope you found it useful. If you like this video, click on the like button below to let others know. You can click the subscribe button so you don't miss any of my videos in the future. I'm frequently uploading new training videos. Don't forget to check out my website at howtogurus.com.